What's going on, everybody? It is not quite Friday. It's a Thursday edition, a special edition, if you will, of JT's Bang Bang Plays. And I want to start by talking about Jacob deGrom's continued dominance. Last night against the Cubs, 8 strikeouts in just 3 innings pitched. Oh, that's right. He had to come out of the game for the second start in a row because of some type of arm injury, this time a shoulder injury. But not to worry at all. They did some strength tests in the clubhouse, and he responded really well to them. And manager Luis Rojas says, hey, no big deal, because everybody was on board with Jake starting this game just 5 days after he had to leave due to a discomfort in his flexor tendon. So no big deal. You'll probably see Jake again in 5 days. Wait, what? What? Are you kidding me? Like, where is Frank Jobe? Where is James Andrews? Where are these doctors? I want blood tests. I want fecal samples. I want this guy put in a bubble to make sure that he's healthy. We're talking about not just the odds-on favorite to win the National League Cy Young Award, but the odds-on favorite to win the National League MVP. We know how great Shohei Ohtani is. Jacob deGrom has been every bit as great. He is this New York Mets franchise. And look, if they let him hit and play shortstop every day when he wasn't pitching, well, then maybe you wouldn't have to spend $300 million on a slick fielding slap hitter. But look, people say, hey, wait a second, things have changed. It's a whole new regime. We've got Steve Cohen here now, and he has everything fixed. This is proof that he absolutely does not have everything fixed, and the Mets do not have their house in order when it comes to their medical staff, and in particular, when it comes to how they're handling Jacob deGrom. Look, let's not forget, this is a franchise that traded away Tom Seaver and Nolan Ryan. This is a franchise that is still, and has been for the last 25 years, been paying Bobby Bonilla $1 million every year. In fact, they may still be paying Jason Bay, one of the worst free agent signings in the history of any team. And let's not forget, this is the New York Mets team whose mascot, Mr. Met, gives you the finger as he rolls down the tunnel into the clubhouse. So when you say everything's fine, we're under new leadership, you have to show results. Yeah, the team is playing phenomenal baseball. Their offense still would like to see a little bit more out of that aspect of it. But this situation with Jacob deGrom, the Mets have never been particularly forthcoming. He's going to be undergoing an MRI today. But I think for the good of that team and for the good of baseball as a whole, it seems like his body's saying he needs just a couple of days off. And if you think I'm saying this from the perspective of a Mets fan, I admit I did grow up a Mets fan, but that's why I now root for the Atlanta Braves. That's why I can't be a Mets fan anymore. It's why I'm a recovering Mets fan. But I did put the rally cap on back there just to hope that the franchise gets its act together. And that brings me to tonight's slate, because we've got a lovely slate tonight. We've got some interesting pitching options, of course, led by, or right in the middle of the pack, the Atlanta Braves, Charlie Morton. Look, at least the Braves are going to be honest with you, right? Somebody gets hurt, you never see them again. All they do is they overpay for another one of these guys that, as they say in one of my favorite countries in the world, Venezuela, Charlie Morton es lavado. He's washed. Now, is this a spot where he can pitch well against the St. Louis Cardinals, who are essentially an all right-handed hitting team? I still don't trust him. On this slate. So you've got him and you've got Rich Hill that I think people are going to, at least maybe more so Morton than Hill, people are going to think, it's a good matchup. Look, we've talked about sticky substances and pine tar and the spider tack. And if you guys don't think that Rich Hill and Charlie Morton were using any substance under the sun to keep themselves in the game of baseball, well, then I've got some waterfront property in New Mexico that I think you might really be interested in. But moving along at pitching, I think there are some really intriguing options. And I'll start with some lower-owned options, ones that I'm looking at. Going to start in Coors Field. Yep, I'm going to think about rostering a pitcher in Coors Field. And nope, it's not Brandon Woodruff. It's German Marquez. Marquez, up until his last start when he ran into an absolute buzzsaw in Cincinnati, has been really, really good. And this Milwaukee Brewers team has been really, really not so good with a 26% strikeout rate against right-handed pitching over the last couple of weeks. Marquez significantly reduced in price at just 5.5 on DraftKings. I'm willing to give him a shot tonight. There's another guy that I'm willing to give a shot that it looks like he may be just around 1% owned. I don't think anyone is going to feel comfortable rostering this guy in this matchup tonight. But let me tell you a little bit about my friends, the San Diego Padres, and how they feel about facing left-handed pitching. They've seen Austin Gomber, who has, to be fair, made a resurgence of his career this year in Colorado, but they've faced him 3 times. And in 19 1/3 innings pitched against Austin Gomber, the Padres have managed to score just 2 runs, and they've struck out 17 times. They also faced Joey Lucchesi. Joey Lucchesi making a bit of a resurgence himself with the aforementioned New York Mets. In just 9 2/3 innings against Lucchesi, the San Diego Padres managed to score 2 runs and struck out 9 times. So Joey Lucchesi and Austin Gomber, not exactly left-handers of fame that you think of. You might think Chris Sale, you might think Clayton Kershaw. No, these are kind of middle-of-the-pack guys. And tonight, the Padres take on another sort of middle-of-the-pack left-handed pitcher in Wade Miley for the Cincinnati Reds. Wade, very similar to these pitchers. He's changed up his pitch mix a bit this year, throwing a few more cutters, and he's gotten a lot more success, including a no-hitter against the Indians. Earlier this season, Wade Miley just 8K at 1% ownership. I think he has a shot to, number one, go deep in the game, which we're not seeing from many of these pitchers right now, and also put up a pretty good performance at that 8K price point. So like that a lot, Wade Miley and German Marquez. A couple of other guys, of course, we can consider. Shohei Ohtani, going to be going for the Angels against the Detroit Tigers. He's just 8.1 on DraftKings. The Tigers do have a lot of power recently in this lineup, but still a lot of strikeout upside. So he's definitely an option this evening. Joe Musgrove against the Cincinnati Reds. Musgrove himself pitching quite a bit better this year. He is 8.9K on DraftKings. And then you have Marcus Stroman, once again, for the New York Mets. He's 8.6K. He's going to be facing, it looks like, a Cubs lineup that is injured and pretty heavily watered down in a park in Citi Field that is more of a pitcher's park, much more of a pitcher's park, especially this season. So that does it for the pitching in terms of where I'm interested in pitching. Let's talk about some offenses. And I'll start with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, because you have to say that, against Matt Manning making his Major League debut. And after Matt Manning, a Detroit Tiger bullpen that's got a 5.47 xFIP over the last week. Using the last week because that's when all these guys really stopped using any of the substances that help them generate movement on the ball. They have been the absolute worst in Major League Baseball over that period. Why do we want to pick on this highly touted rookie? Well, first of all, there's a difference between AAA and Major League Baseball. And I have liked some of these rookies coming up. Alek Manoah being, I think, the best example who pitched well against the Yankees in his debut. But Alek Manoah was a guy that the Blue Jays knew for a while was ready to make his debut. The only reason, in fact, he got sent down out of spring training was simply because of service time. They wanted to keep that extra year control over a talent like Alek Manoah. The reason why Matt Manning is coming to the major leagues is very, very different. It's because the Tigers are out of arms. In fact, they've had to, one of the reasons why their bullpen has been so bad is because of injuries. And they've had to bring up people who've been released by multiple organizations. And so Matt Manning is getting the promotion here, not because he was good in AAA. As a matter of fact, the opposite is true. And I'll tell you a little bit about that, right? So Matt Manning in AAA Toledo this year, 8 runs per 9 inning given up. And that includes 11 home runs in 7 games. It includes 29 earned runs in 32 1/3 innings. And he doesn't care if you're left-handed or right-handed. Each side is batting .303 against Matt Manning. So the Tigers bringing him up more so out of desperation than out of the belief that Matt Manning is ready to face and be successful against major league batters. And I don't expect him to be successful here tonight against the Los Angeles Angels. The only downside to this stack is we won't be able to use Ohtani because he'll be pitching. But we can look to Jared Walsh at 5.0. We can look to Justin Upton at just 4.3. And even Taylor Ward has been hitting the ball pretty well. He's 2.9. Looks like he'll be in that 5 or 6 hole tonight for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Another matchup that I like tonight, the New York Yankees against TJ Zook for the Toronto Blue Jays. Zook, up and down this year between the big league club and the minor leagues, but in the bigs, he's giving up 3.75 home runs per 9. And the Toronto bullpen themselves over the course of the last week, 4.61 xFIP, and giving up 1.5 home runs per 9. For the Yankees, they're expensive, but I think the guys you can look to are Aaron Judge at 5.4, Giancarlo Stanton at 5.5, and Gary Sanchez hit a home run last night. Gary Sanchez at 4.8. Last one I'll leave you with to think about is the Atlanta Braves against John Gant and a bullpen that's been among the worst all season long. In fact, one of St. Louis's relievers, Genesis Cabrera, seemed to kickstart this whole discussion about an MLB's decision to take away some of these substances. I'll leave that topic alone for another day. But Cabrera came out to the mound with some substance on his hat, and Joe West said, hey, no, the hat's got to go. And the bullpen hasn't been good all year long. So you've got John Gant, who hasn't been particularly good, a 5.46 xFIP. That is in the bottom 4 on this slate, going up against a very frustrated Atlanta Braves team. And between Gant and the bullpen, I think the Braves get it done here. We're going to look to the same 2 guys to start our stacks with from this team, as we do every night. It's going to be Freddie Freeman at 5.1. It's going to be Ronald Acuna Jr. at 6.1. But they've got a 4-hole hitter, Abraham Almonte, who's been playing somewhat decently. And look, because the rest of these teams that I talked about are fairly expensive, a 2.2K hitter in the 4-hole for a stack that I think has a potential to score more than 10 runs tonight is something I'm going to take a close look at. If you're new to this video, if you're new to Run Pure Sports, if you're not a member yet, first of all, what are you waiting for? Join the movement. Enter code RPSHeater25. Get 25% off of your first month's payment, and come and enjoy the playbooks, the core plays, the Discord, the videos, the live shows with our guys, BigT, AP, JSU, Draft Sheet, Stevie Boynton getting in there, and of course, my buddy Mangone. Almost every day you can get his content. You get his cash chart along with Hoop, one of the best players in the industry. Once again, enter code RPSHeater25. Good luck tonight. Run pure in those contests.